All right, and we are back. 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 Welcome. All right, and we are back. And today we're back with another reaction. I haven't done a science reaction in a while, so I figured I'd go ahead and throw on the old Kurzgesagt, see how they're doing. What new science is going on here, And it looks like this time they're going to be talking about the end. And I don't mean the end of their series or anything, hopefully. It looks like they're talking about the end of the world. What the universe is going to be like when the universe ends. I keep making it the world, but this is bigger than that, guys. This is the whole freaking universe. So, this is going to be a big topic here. So guys, if you're not familiar with Kurzgesagt, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe to them. The description will be down below. Also, make sure you check out some of my previous videos that I did for Kurzgesagt. They're great videos. They get pretty decent views. People like some science stuff, so let's watch some science stuff together. It's so diverse on this channel. Is what I'm really trying to say here, guys. I'm incredible. So with that being said, guys, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to this channel as well. I'm in my head right now, guys. So I'm just saying things. But here's the serious part. Very serious part, and I don't want anybody to misconstrue this part. If you don't like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, subscribing is the most important part. YouTube will come through that door, and they will. The last thing to ever happen in the universe.
The universe today is happy and healthy, with exciting things going on. But at some point, the night will turn dark. Everything that once was will peacefully sleep forever. But what is the last thing that will ever happen, and when will it be? It turns out there is such...
Okay, before this video really gets started, I'm gonna go ahead and do the pause thing and do my whole interjection thing. But guys, I feel like the last thing that's gonna happen, and I don't know, I haven't seen the video, but I feel like he's going to do like a whole recreation of the universe thing. It's gonna be like the last thing to happen is like, so, and follow me here if you guys already know about science a lot, you're big science heads out there. But like when the universe goes through the whole like dead, time where like the heat death, and then like there's going to be nothing but black holes left and dead planets. Eventually all those black holes are going to absorb all the material in the universe. Eventually those black holes are going to start to absorb each other. Eventually there's just going to be one big supermassive black hole in the universe, and this is trillions upon trillions upon trillions of years from now. But once that happens, there's just going to be one big black hole left in the entire universe, and it's going to take up the circumference of the known universe, and then it's going to slowly start to trickle over time and like slowly start to do the whole evaporation, black hole evaporation, the Hawking's radiation, all that stuff, and then it's going to explode, and then all the material from all the black holes and all the galaxies will still be in there deep below in that, black holes storage unit, as you would call it. And then that's just going to cause a big bang and then recreate the universe. So that's just my theory, but let's see what they got to say.
Such a thing, and you probably haven't heard about it. Let's travel to the end of the universe and look at the last thing. After a messy birth, our universe was a sleepy baby, warm and dark, filled with swirling clouds of hot hydrogen and helium. The story of creation is a story of this gas and where it will end up. Shortly after, the universe got busy making the first generation of stars. They were massive and lived violent lives, forging new elements, only to release most of them when they blew up. Countless stars were born and refined the gas available in the universe, cycling matter around, each generation giving most of its gas and fresh elements to the next.
Now, mind you guys, this is all happening over the course of billions of years. The first few seconds of the Big Bang, insane, crazy, a lot of stuff happening. After that, it's a lot of just heat. It's a lot of just like, oh, things are just happening right now, you know? Editor, throw in a Bill Wirtz meme or something in there.
What's the universe made of? Dreams, bro.
But yeah, things were just really happening in the universe for the first few seconds, and then things were continuously, but not at the same pace, happening for the next like couple of million to like couple of billion years, you know. When I say a couple of million, I meant like a couple of 100 million years to like a couple of billion. You know, things weren't like really popping off like that around the universe that we know of. You know, maybe some of the earlier galaxies closer to the Big Bang, they're probably so far ahead of us that it's insane. You know, they'd come down to us, we'd be like, oh man, that's God right there. But you know, that was an alien, you know. But you know, guys, it's insane how crazy when you really think about the concepts of like any galaxy that's closer there got all the things that we got, but first they're probably so far advanced that they died out already. Who knows?
But not all gas is returned. Every time a new generation of stars forms, they also make more and more red dwarfs that burn slowly and live for trillions of years. When they die, they don't give their gas back to the universe, but turn it into white dwarfs. So red dwarfs lock up more gas forever. Some more gas is locked forever in other remains of dead stars, neutron stars and black holes, which is bad as it reduces the material available for new stars. Today, the universe is a great home for us and will remain so for billions of years.
Yeah.
But most of the gas has been used up or trapped. Over 90% of the stars that will ever be born have been born already.
Aww.
To get to the last thing to ever happen, all other things.
Hey, shout outs to the, you know, less than 10% of stars that haven't been born yet. You know, the future is yours, guys. You can do it. You are a star. You will be a star. I'm only talking to the actual gases watching this video. If you're a human, then you're probably just okay. But if you're out there being formed in the concepts of space, and you just so happen to hear my voice echo throughout the galaxy one day on some type of weird thing, that signal that we're sending out to the universe constantly just to see what's going on, I hope you hear this message, and I hope you know I believed in you.
Need to happen first. The next few 100 billion years will be fun and a great time for galactic exploration.
Yeah.
But step by step, large stars and stars like our sun will die out. Eventually, almost all the stars will be red dwarfs slowly dying. The end of everything, but not quite. In a few trillion years,
That not quite gives me hope that I was right in the beginning. Let's see.
the cosmic gas will finally have run out. About 88% of the mass of every galaxy will be white dwarfs, 2% neutron stars and black holes, and about 10% gas giants and sad brown dwarf losers. White dwarfs are the corpses of old stars.
Not losers.
much bigger than Earth, but on average as massive as half our sun, some even much more. This makes them the third densest objects in the universe, after neutron stars and black holes. About 1 million times denser than the sun today. Since they used to be active stars, their surface can be as hot as 150,000 degrees. White dwarfs are dim, hot, dense spheres that don't do anything anymore. But eventually, even white dwarfs will die because they're slowly losing their heat.
Yep.
It takes at least 10 trillion years, more than 700 times longer than the current age of the universe. As they do their cooling down, the universe around them will irreversibly grow dark, as more and more white dwarfs burn out and turn into dead husks, black dwarfs. Spheres of death, as cold as space itself, invisible against the dark backdrop. Over trillions and trillions of years, every object in every galaxy is eventually either ejected into the void or its orbit decays and it will fall into the central black hole and be destroyed.
Yeah. Now, okay, here's my question about that. It literally just hit my mind. Is that a theoretical concept? Because if they're saying it takes longer than it takes for the universe to, that's been around for those to happen, that means there can't be any currently in the universe. This is just a theoretical thing. There's white doors, but there are currently no black doors. So if anybody, again, is like a scientist, if anybody is in the field of space, please provide me that knowledge. I want to make sure that I just heard that correctly, because from the sounds of it, we don't have a single black dwarf yet. We think that they're going to happen. We're like 90% sure that it's going to happen, but it is not like a bona fide fact that this is what happens based off proof or evidence, just based off of how old the universe is and how long they're saying it takes for one of these things to be created. Just please, guys, correct me if I'm wrong out there, or like if I'm just, if I sound like I'm just like, oh, whoa, you didn't hear it. Please, I want to make sure you guys are explaining it properly.
In about a quintillion years, all galaxies have evaporated and every object is on its own, in the center of its own observable universe, emptiness as far as can be seen in any direction, traveling through black nothingness. Still, there are things that will happen. Black holes are dying, slowly. They'll fizzle away by emitting Hawking radiation until they're so small that they die in a final flash of light. This will take about a googol years, 10 to the power of 100 years, until the last supermassive black hole dies. A number so absurd, there's nothing to compare it to.
Yeah.
Maybe some living beings could have survived around black holes, but even this science fiction option ends now. After this unsettling amount of time, we're not even close to the end. Now is the time of the black dwarfs. It turns out there's some weird physics going on inside the dead husk of stars. The weird physics of black dwarfs.
Okay.
A black dwarf is a sphere that...
I don't think I've heard about the weird physics of black doors. Let's see. I want to know about this. And yes, I did pause it just to make that announcement, because this is a reaction video, guys. And I don't know if you know, but
the size of Earth, as massive as a star, but almost as cold as absolute zero. Stars stay alive because of their intense heat in their cores. So why do black dwarfs not collapse into a black hole? What keeps them together? Deep inside a black dwarf, matter is squeezed to densities millions of times greater than anything we see on Earth.
okay.
The pressure is so great that electrons can't combine with the nuclei to form atoms. Instead, matter is weird, degenerate. The nuclei are compressed by the weight of the star, locked into a rigid lattice, while the electrons form a plasma between them. And these electrons hold the star together. We're simplifying, but imagine matter as a subway train and electrons as passengers. If there are empty seats, passengers spread out because they care a lot about their personal space. But as a black dwarf is so incredibly dense, this is like squishing more and more passengers into our train. Gravity is pushing in, trying to collapse it. The passengers are forced to sit and stand close together, which they hate. And so the passengers, our electrons, try to push out against gravity as hard as they can. This way, the electrons that are having a horrible time in the crowded train that's the black dwarf hold up the star. Everything else in the universe may have crumbled already, but these tiny particles push against each other until the end of time. Or they would, if quantum mechanics didn't ruin everything. Simplifying a lot, when particles get close enough, sometimes they can jump at each other and fuse together, a process called quantum tunneling. This happens constantly in stars because of their intense heat. It's one of the key reasons stars can fuse elements into new ones. But it also happens at a temperature near absolute zero, just, well, mind-numbingly slowly. This is the final step to creating the last interesting thing to ever happen in our universe. Here, in this lone black dwarf, something fantastic occurs. Nothing happens for 1 trillion years. Nothing at all. Can you imagine that? But then, a single fusion reaction. 2 carbon nuclei combine by quantum tunneling to become magnesium. Another 100 trillion years pass. It happens again. Then nothing for another bazillion years. Oh, 2 oxygen nuclei combine into silicon. As eons pass, the nuclei in the frozen black dwarf slowly combine, making new heavier nuclei. and these take even longer to fuse, but given enough time, they eventually will. Remember the breathtaking amount of time it took for a supermassive black hole to evaporate?
Yeah.
That's a brief moment in comparison to what's going on here. The difference between a second and trillions of years has lost all meaning. Over a time so absurd that it has no name, nuclei keep fusing into heavier elements. Until, when silicon nuclei fuse, they form nickel-56. Nickel-56 is radioactive, which means it's unstable. And when it eventually decays and turns into iron, it emits two positrons, antimatter electrons. And these two positrons find two electrons and annihilate them and themselves. Which is a problem. Remember how the uncomfortable electrons produce the pressure to hold the star together?
It's going to be like a chain reaction. So these like anti matter materials are only going to need to hit like one of these things, and then they're all just going to like chain react and explode. And that's how these black dwarfs are going to go. But okay, here's another thing though. Didn't they just say the last supermassive black hole in the universe is going to go like take like pretty much like 1,000 times less time for this? So with those black holes, like the supermassive ones, then absorb this, which may or may not stop this whole, which I mean actually would stop this whole chain reaction from happening. Oh no, because unless he's just talking about the ones that didn't actually get absorbed by the black hole, I think he's actually referring to the ones that get shot out just from like losing their, they got shot out of their orbital rotation or their orbit, and then they're just drifting off into space with no black holes around. Okay. I think that's what he's saying. Guys, again, correct me if I'm wrong here, but that is the explanation between this. So, okay, I'm right here. First, if one of these goes, I'm pretty sure all of them are going to go. But again, this is in a scenario where it doesn't get absorbed into a black hole. Gotcha. Guys, I'm pretty smart, guys. I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you've been watching the channel lately, but you know, I'm a pretty smart guy.
Destroying the electron means fewer friends to help them hold up the star. Losing an electron does not give them more space to scratch their butts, it just makes gravity squeeze harder, the walls closing in on those that remain. In the case of the most massive black dwarfs, this is catastrophic. Bit by bit, the black...
Okay, guys, I was wrong. It wasn't like a chain reaction thing. Well, technically it is a chain reaction because them doing, you know, the ones disappearing makes the area go smaller. That's a chain reaction. But, you know, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It wasn't like, oh, one of them gets popped and then immediately, bop, 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 they're all gone. No, it just makes less of them. The area that they have available to them gets even smaller than it was. Okay, that makes sense, guys. I'm still pretty smart.
Black dwarf turns into a sphere of iron and more electrons are annihilated. For at least 10 to the power of 1,000 years, almost but not quite forever, there's no visible change in the entire universe. And then, finally, the last thing to ever happen happens. The black dwarf has lost one too many electrons. It can no longer support its immense mass and goes into an uncontrolled collapse, a supernova. It first implodes and then explodes as bright as a galaxy and fills the empty universe with light again. A beautiful moment nobody will get to enjoy. And then, as quickly as it began, it's all over. Darkness again. Emptiness. That was the last thing that will ever happen. The universe may now be truly dead. But don't be bummed out about it. This is so far away in the future that forever hardly describes it. Today, the universe is the best place it could be for us. And you can sleep tight tonight, knowing the last interesting thing that will ever happen is forever long away.
Nice.
For now, there are still plenty of interesting things to discover.
Oh, wow.
And the younger you start discovering, the more you'll understand about the world we live in.
Hey.
Our sponsor KiwiCo helps
KiwiCo, guys. Obviously, you know how I am about advertisements. I enjoy them. I love them. Unfortunately, I don't get paid from this one, but I do want to give a shout out to it. You know, KiwiCo seems like a really great company. I'm not going to fully go do the whole I'm doing their thing for them this time. Except maybe I will. KiwiCo. What is
Kids get a head
KiwiCo?
start there with a range of unique crates
Oh
and a
man,
myriad of
get these unique toys and items to help your children learn how to be creative and get into their engineering bag early, because let's be real here. Kids, they're learning all this stuff. This is extremely fun stuff for them right now. Once they get into like the high school, the college, all the stuff that they need to actually be an engineer is going to be boring and it's going to be difficult. But the earlier you get them started on this stuff, the easier it's going to be for them later on because they'll already know the basic concepts. This is incredible. And you know what? Kurzgesagt is giving you guys some deals on this stuff. You guys have to check out the link in my description. Go to his channel. He has the actual link to this stuff. Look at this. This is teaching babies how to formulate like patterns and like get things together. This kid got probably three different ways to fill in that circle right there. Multiple ways to fill in that triangle. Multiple ways to fill in this square right here. This kid is going to be smart. It's just a fact at this point, guys. I don't even know how you can deny it. This is incredible. I've never seen anything like this. This right here, I can tell this baby looks pretty smart.
different lines designed for kids of all ages and
Look at that. Look at that. Guys, it's not just the one thing. They can do a lot of different things. I missed the rewind on it, but you know what I mean.
the excitement of a trip to the museum site. Like us,
It's incredible. These kids are going to be learning a lot.
KiwiCo spends a ridiculous amount of time on fine-tuning each crate.
They spend so much time trying to figure all this out, guys. They be tinkering and figuring it all out, the right pieces to go to the right places. It's not here, it's there. They want to make sure that your kids are learning the right way. And you know what? Look at this right here. It's not just blocks and like wooden things. There's actual electronics to this. They're going to be learning about the early stages of electrical engineering, guys. They're going to be learning about, the amps and things like that to get things working. It's probably going to have some contraption with LEDs. And then they're going to be like, oh man, I made this glow. And you as a parent are going to be like, holy crap, my kid's a freaking genius. I could have never figured this out when I was that age. And you're right. You couldn't have, because you didn't have these things here. You didn't have the advertised product.
Need to complete the
Look at this
project
kid.
at home.
This kid's going to get into a STEM program. She's going to be a freaking genius. Look at that. Can you as an adult do that? No, that's the answer. Unless you are within this field, then maybe. But probably not.
We might also have decided to
It's not going to look as cool as that little girl's. It's not going to look as cool as any of these kids. But you know what is cool? You can help your kids or yourself get this level of coolness. One, go to that site. Use the code Kurzgesagt. You see it right here. KURZGESAGT, guys. Get it done. Get it for the kids. Make sure that the next generation has opportunities that the current generation, actually, you guys also had stuff like this. But, let's make sure that it keeps getting better and better. It's going to be better than the ones you had as a kid.
KiwiCo and get the best
Come
deal.
on.
Month.
50% off, man. Half the price. Take the price, take half of it off. That's how much you're saving if you go there, use that code right there. Look at this. Here's the code one more time. You see the code, guys.
Or if you want to try
Get
it out
that
first,
deal.
they also offer individual crates in the KiwiCo store.
Individual crates. You don't even have to do a subscription. You don't even have to do a full-on month-to-month subscription. You can just get one item for your kid. Maybe you're like, oh man, I really, even with the 50% off, I really can't afford all the screwy. You can afford it because they got individual packages, guys. Incredible.
At Kurzgesagt, we love to spark curiosity.
Love it.
And we love to work with companies that share this goal.
Exactly. 2 companies. Incredible. KiwiCo, Kurzgesagt, working together, helping the kids, educating their parents. What don't they do, guys? So yeah, guys, that was a great video. I enjoyed myself, especially at the end there. I like getting into my little advertising bag. So if all you advertisers are out there watching, come on down, you know, come on and hit me up, hit up your old boy. So yeah, guys, that was actually a pretty fun video. I was actually caught for a loop at the end. I was not expecting it to actually have like a actual permanent ending. I thought they were gonna do like one of those like misdirects where they say this is the end, but then turns out here's the misdirect, the loophole around what they're saying, like this is the end, kinda. And then, you know, that happens. But I guess the misdirect was it's gonna take so much time for this final event to happen that it might as well be completely forever in the future. Which another interesting misdirect, but again, I feel like this whole video is just like subject to the fact that like some things will get shot out of the universe, out of our known universe. So like all those supermassive black holes taking over everything and all that stuff and creating a new universe could still be a thing. He didn't technically disprove that theory, just kind of added to it that like also out there will be, you know, lone planets, black dwarf stars that, you know, may still have a little bit of stuff to cook up in the universe, you know, a little. They still got another bang of their own to get out. So yeah, that was a great video, guys. Nice to get back to the science stuff. You know, shout outs to you guys if you are interested in the science stuff. If you haven't already, make sure you like, comment, subscribe on the, you know, to me, subscribe to me, comment on the video, like the video, go watch other videos and enjoy yourself, you know, have a good time, become part of the community. We're on the road to 500 subscribers. We're getting pretty close. We're doing pretty good, guys. But you know, I know you guys, the new people who are just watching this and haven't subscribed yet, I know you're like, whoa, I meant to subscribe, but I missed that subscribe button. But now, guess what? Second chance. You get to hit that subscribe button again. And it's a really cool thing that happens when you do. If you want to know what that cool thing is, make sure you hit subscribe on the channel. So yeah, guys, this has been a fun one. I think there's enough existential dread for most of us here. So it's been great. Again, if you followed through and you've made it past all the random rambling, congratulations. You can now subscribe. And for everyone who's already done all the things that I want them to do, and you're just like, whoa, how much longer this video? Here's what I always say. Thank you. I appreciate you. Bye.